Yo, what up? How's it going? And welcome back for another video. In today's video, I'll be giving you guys a unit guide for set 7 TFT. So what you can expect in this video is we're going to be talking about which class each of the units fall into, like whether they're a tank, DPS, or a utility style unit, or a hybrid of those classes. The other stuff we're going to talk about is positioning for these units and what are some good items on those carries that you can look to play, or units that you can look to play throughout the set. Not talking about best in slot, as that changes patch to patch, is honestly useless information for this type of video. Why should you listen to me? I have been challenger since set 4, and I played about 100 plus games on the PvE server to get ready for the new set. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. All right, here we are with Aatrox. Now, before we get started, just one thing I want to say quickly is we're not going to talk too much about the traits over here. I will just say what they are. He's a Shimmer Skill and a Warrior. I'm not going to talk about too much about the traits and what units to play with him, because that is something we'll be talking about more in our traits video. This video is really just talking about like what does the unit do and how should you play them. So Aatrox is a mixture of a tank and a DPS. He's an early game tank and DPS. He can fulfill both roles. And so what does Aatrox actually do? If you played set 5, he's exactly the same from set 5 Aatrox, which is what he does is once he gets full mana, he does a little jab at the enemy, and it heals them for flat amounts, and it deals a lot of attack damage. So it deals some extra attack damage. So that's why you'll be putting some AD items on him if you want to carry him. So what are some good items on him? We can look over. Let's see what Mobalytics recommends. Don't build what Mobalytics recommends. Don't do that. So any type of tank items or AD scaling items. So stuff like Warmogs is going to be fine. Stoneplate I found is extremely good on Aatrox in the early game, and also something like a BT is helpful, especially if you're going to play him sort of like a tank. And if you're going to reroll him and he's going to be really big, BT does scale with healing items, or does scale with HP, sorry. Titan's Resolve, stuff like that. So just tank and AD items are going to be your best bet if you want to itemize your Aatrox. Yeah, here we go. All right, Ezreal. Ezreal is exactly the same as he was in set 6. If you guys played him, he is a Tempest and a Swift Shot in this set. So yeah, but he's exactly the same if you played him in set 6. Except for he's a little bit different, that he deals magic damage instead of AD damage. So if you didn't play set 6, what he does is whenever his auto attack, or he auto attacks until he's full mana, once he's at full mana, he shoots out his Mystic Shot, which is a Q from League of Legends, which is a line skill shot. He shoots that out, and then he gains attack speed every time he does that. The only difference from set 6 is that his Mystic Shot will actually deal magic damage now. So Ezreal is a very, very, very good early game carry, extremely good early game carry, and there will for sure be patches where he is a viable reroll build, that sort of thing. So if you want to play Ezreal, some really good items to play on him are something like a Rage Blade. Static Shiv is amazing to play on him. Like Static Shiv is amazing if you're wanting to play him as a transition unit. Like Static Shiv Ezreal just makes him pop off like crazy. Blue buff is fine as well, but if you actually want to carry the Ezreal, something like a Rage Blade, Giant Slayer is actually be good. They're using old items from the last set. Giant Slayer is going to be good. Archangel maybe. Jeweled Gauntlet could be good because he's auto attacking quite a bit. Hodge could be good for some healing if you want that. But in general, AP scaling items and attack speed scaling items are going to be what you want to play on my main man, Azrael. All right, Heimerdinger. Heimerdinger is a trainer and a mage. He's actually a pretty powerful early game unit, not because of his unit himself. It's just because his trait is really good in the early game. Trainers and mage are very easy to play in the early and mid game, which makes him a very powerful unit in that sense. He is a carry, I suppose. I'm sure there'll be patches where rerolling Heimerdinger is good, but he's kind of a weird carry because his targeting is strange, at least at the time we make this video. He does target the highest health enemy. So you can imagine some weird scenarios where the enemy has 6 units left and Heimerdinger just keeps injuring all the units, and you take a 6-unit loss even though he did enough damage to kill several of them. So he's a little bit weird in that regard. So what does he do? He throws his little grenade from League of Legends, but only hits one target. It's very similar to Ziggs in set 5. He played Ziggs in set 5. He tosses his thing. It can't miss. And he can't double cast because he is a mage, of course. And so he throws a little bomb, does some magic damage, and you're good to go. So if you guys want to itemize them, it's standard AP carry stuff. So standard, Sojourn. I think he does have pretty high mana cost. So like Sojourn, Death Cap, just standard AP scaling, guys. Jeweled Gauntlet, Giant Slayer could be okay, I guess. But yeah, as at the time of making this video, don't really itemize Heimerdinger. He's just really good as a synergy bot, but he only functions really as a carry. He doesn't really have any utility in his build. All right, Karma. Let's talk about Karma. And I haven't really talked much about positioning, but you guys can just look where I'm putting this here. If it's a frontliner, standard frontline positioning, backliner, standard backline positioning, corner, or one of these spots right here. Obviously, some of these units do have a little bit unique positioning, and those are the ones I'll talk more about them. All right, Karma. If you guys played set 5, it is exactly the same as set 5 Karma, except for that she doesn't overload and shoot at 3. She just shoots 1 Q, her mantra Q from League of Legends, which is just a line skill shot that will hit the front line. She is a very decent early game carry, a good blue buff user. You can build Sojourn on her, I guess, but blue buff is really where it's at. Honestly, these mobilytic items I recommended is not too bad. Death Cap JG, something like that is going to be very good for you. Mage Cap on her is fine if you end up wanting to reroll her for whatever reason, especially if you're like doing like a reroll set, reroll Senate style build. She can fit in that, and if you get AP items, you can itemize her this way. So blue buff, something like that is going to be very good. JG, AP scaling, Giant Slayer, because she does get stuck hitting front line, is going to be solid for you. But Karma is pretty simple. She's Dragonmancer and Jade. You will play around her a lot in the early game, but yeah, she's really simple. All right, Leona is a god tank. Leona is what she's pretty much always been. If you guys played set 5, I think it was set 5, she's exactly the same. So what she does is once she gets her ultimate ready, once she gets her ability ready, what she does is she just makes herself real tanky. That's it. She just gets real tanky. That's all you need to know about her. She is a god tank. You just stack your tank items on her. So just like this, Warmogs, Bramble, Dragon's Claw, Spark, that sort of thing, Sunfire. She is just a god tank, and yeah, you'll definitely want to play around her if you get a Guardian opener or the Mirage is good for you that game and you want to play it. That's what you do. All right, Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen is an Astral and a Shapeshifter. If you guys played set 5, I'm starting to realize I have a lot of reprints from set 5, but I'm all good with it. I think set 5 had some pretty good units. That set was really bad, but the units were not too bad. But anyways, Nidoqueen is exactly the same from set 5, except for a little bit different. In set 5, she was a 3 cost, and she would jump into the backline. So what does she do? She starts out in her spear form. She's a shapeshifter. She turns to her cougar, and then she pounces onto an enemy. I believe her targeting right now is lowest health, but that could change from patch to patch. Doesn't really matter to know that information anyways. But what does she scale with? Attack speed items and AD items. These items are okay, I guess. But yeah, so attack speed, AD items, Titans is good, Hodge is good, all that good stuff. There's gonna be good items for you. She can be a carry. Whenever you play Astrals, you typically 3-star all of your units anyways. If you want to itemize her with attack speed and AD style items, and you're good to go. You can position her on backline. You can position her kind of closer. She takes a little bit of damage, but it doesn't really matter. She's gonna turn into her cougar, and she's gonna jump the enemy no matter what. All right, Sejuani. Sejuani is going to be one of your premier early game tanks as well. So what does Sejuani do? Sejuani is a guild. She is a cavalier. Whenever she uses her ability, she will slap her flail in front of her, dealing a little bit of magic damage and doing kind of like a micro stun. It's a pretty small stun. She'll stun the enemy that's in front of her and all that good stuff. If you want to play around Sejuani, you can put tank items on her just like this. Standard tank items, standard tank play, pretty simple unit. All right, Senna. Senna is a Cannoneer and a Rage Wing. So what does Senna do? Senna is sort of like an auto attack based champion because she is a Cannoneer, so she get a lot of damage from that. She shoots out her W from League of Legends if you play League of Legends, which is where she shoots out kind of a Mist Wraith, and it stuns whoever it hits and it deals some damage. So whenever she shoots out that Mist Wraith, her Mist Wraith actually deals magic damage, and it can't go through enemies, so it hits the first enemy that it hits, and that's it. It deals magic damage to them and does a stun for a short duration, but her auto attacks obviously deal AD damage, and Cannoneer scales with AD. So if you want to play Senna, you can build kind of hybrid, but items like Rage Blade are going to be really good on her. Yeah, Rage Blade's going to be good, and then you can build attack damage if you want to play around Cannoneer, something like that. You can also build some like AP scaling style items. I could definitely see a world where Senna reroll is going to be very good this set, or along with Set and Karma. They kind of all go together. But yeah, attack speed, AD scaling items, and I could see a world where AP scaling items is fine as well. Okay, Set. I do love Set. Set is very fun. So what does Set do? Set just auto attacks people, and whenever he gets his ultimate ready, he deals a little bit extra damage when he auto attacks. He does his like left, right, left. He doesn't have anything flashy. He's just auto attacking, and he gains stacking resist whenever he beats people up. And so the resist scale with AP, and then his actual damage scales with attack damage. If you guys want to play Set, He can be one of your main tanks for the early game. I main tank him a lot, especially when I have 3 Dragonmancer in. So you can just stack tank items like Stone Plate, Bramble, Warmogs, all that good stuff, standard tank items. Also, if you want to carry him, like you want to reroll him, or you just want to item hold him, things like Infinity Edge, Giant Slayer, Titans are all going to be very good. BT, very good items. So you can build him like an AD carry, or you can build him like a main tank and all that good stuff. Yo. Set is very cool. All right, Skarner. Skarner is an Astral and a Bruiser, and so since he falls into the Astral trait, which we'll talk about in a different video, a lot of times when you play around him, if you're going to have him on your board the whole time, you're going to 3-star him. And so Skarner is a funny unit because his ability, what he does is he gains a shield that scales off of AP, and then he gets a bunch of attack speed. He just starts hitting. So typically you just don't itemize him because there's just better tanks to itemize like Tahm Kench and all the good stuff. But if you want to itemize him, you can itemize him with tank items. If you want to carry him like in a reroll build, I could definitely see worlds where carrying him in a reroll build could be good. And I've tried it actually a few times. It was okay. But if you want to, he's kind of like Warwick. He's very similar to Warwick. So if you want to play him like a Warwick style, you can do QSS, Shiv. You can do QSS, Shiv, Rageblade, QSS, Shiv, Giant Slayer, something like that. Definitely see a world where that will be meta on a certain patch. But if not, you just stack tank items on him and you are good to go. All right, Sir Thomas Kench. So what Sir Thomas Kench does is he gets his thick skin from League of Legends, which is where he gains a shield. So what Tahm Kench actually does here is he gains a little bit of a shield whenever he's taking damage, all that good stuff, once he's ready to cast his ability. And he deals some reflect damage to the enemy. So he does, and all that scales with magic damage. So the people hitting him, people closest to him will take a little bit of reflect damage, kind of similar to how Bramble Vest used to work. So it does scale with AP. In general, Tahm Kench is just a mega tank. You're just going to put tank items on him and you are good to go. That is Sir Thomas Kench. He is a Revel and a Bruiser. All right, Taric. He's a Jade and a Guardian, standard frontliner, frontline end style utility. If you guys want to play around Taric, you build some tank items on him. Other than that, you usually just don't itemize him because he's just not as good of a tank as Leona is. So if you ever want to like reroll him, you typically itemize Leona. But I could see a world where itemizing Taric will be fine. But yeah, he's just a really solid tanky style unit, but he usually doesn't get your items. But if you want to put items on him, it's just tank items and you're good to go. All right. Sir Vladimir. Vlad is exactly the same as in set 5. You guys played him before, and probably in other sets he's done exactly the same thing. I just can't remember off the top of my head right now. But yeah, exactly the same in set 5. It's his Q from League of Legends. He gives them that big suck. So he siphons their health. So he deals damage, and then he gives himself life. He is a vampire after all. So yeah, so he is a carry and like a tank. He can fulfill both of those roles. If you guys want to itemize him, you can't just itemize him as tank, obviously. But if you want to carry him, items like Titan's Resolve are going to be very good for him. Items like Archangel Staff, QSS are going to be very good with him. I played a game the other day that I performed very well. I have a VOD of it on the YouTube where I just built double Archangel and QSS, and he was just tearing through some people. So I'd say stacking items like that are very good, or just standard tank items are very good if you want to itemize him. That's if you want to itemize and carry him. If you're going to play 6 Astral variant and you're not carrying your Vladimir, then you do not itemize him because you want to put your items on something like a Ilaoi, something like that. You know, something is actually more tanky naturally. Cool. That is Vlad. All right, Ashe. Ashe is a mixture of a DPS and utility. She's a Jade, Dragonmancer, and Switch Shot. She is a triple trader. If you guys played set 6, she is very similar, and she's exactly the same as she was in set 6, except for her damage profile has changed a little bit. So if you don't know what she does, she shoots out her W from League of Legends, which is a volley of arrows that shoots across the map, and it slows enemies' attack speeds. So in set 6, it dealt attack damage. Now she deals ability power. So she deals ability damage. She does not scale with AD anymore. But what I will say is, I could see a world where you just spam, if you want to carry her, you just put attack speed based items on her. And I could see a world where you actually build attack damage because, you know, thinking back in past sets, in set 5, she dealt magic damage with her ability, but you still built her AD because she still auto attacked like crazy. So I could see a world where you build AP items and attack speed items and attack damage items. So just keep your eye on the meta for what itemization is going to be good on her. But if you don't know what to do, attack speed items are going to be good to go. But usually the role that she fulfills in a composition is as a utility or a splash unit, because she has this triple trait and she does have decent utility in her ability. But again, if there is a patch where you want to carry her, go with attack speed items and just keep your thumb on the meta and whether she is currently building AD or AP, because I could see both being viable on her. All right, Braum. Braum is a super tank. Pretty sure he's the same as very similar variations he's been in the past, maybe set 1 Braum. What he does is he puts up his big shield in front of him and he takes reduced damage from that direction. So he's very good as a main tank. Very good early game tank, even can be a very strong late game tank if you end up re-rolling him, that sort of thing. Very, very, very solid. Just a big, big meat shield. If you want to itemize him, standard tank items, guys, pretty simple. He doesn't really do anything else than that. He's a Scalescorn and a Guardian. Boom. Braum is really simple. Okay, Gnar. Gnar is a shapeshifter and a Jade. Gnar, you typically can position him frontline or second row. You can even position him backline to protect your carries. He is ranged at first, and then he transforms into Mega Gnar. And whenever he transforms, he hops onto the nearest enemy, and he can stun in an AoE. It's a very small AoE, but he can stun multiple units. He is primarily a frontliner, so you put frontline style items on him, but something like a BT can be very good on him because he does actually gain some AD when he transforms. So I could see a world where re-rolling him and building some AD items could be good, but I imagine for the majority of the set, he's going to be more of a splash unit that you just splash into your comp, and it's some decent CC for your early and mid-game compositions, where if you want to itemize him, you build tank, and even like BT, something like BT can be nice because he does gain a lot of HP, and again, BT does scale with HP. All right, let's talk about my girl, Jinx. Jinx is a Revel and Cannoneer. She is a mixture of utility and DPS, kind of fulfills a similar role that Ashe does for Swiftshot. She fulfills this role for Cannoneer. So usually you end up being like playing her with Tristana. And if you are like carrying something like a Tristana, or you're carrying a Corki and Tristana are the main carries of the Cannoneer composition, and Jinx and Senna are more of the utility style carries. So yeah, you usually pair them with them, and you will not be carrying your Jinx. Jinx deals attack damage, obviously, when she auto attacks. She is a Cannoneer, but her ability, what she does, she throws out her traps from League of Legends, which is 3 traps she'll throw out, and anybody who steps on them will be stunned. So that is what she does. So she'll throw out her traps at an enemy, and they'll be stunned for a duration. And it deals magic damage. If you want to itemize her, you could build, you could go attack speed base, just like Mobalytics is recommending here. You could build attack damage. Just think of her the same way I just talked about Ashe. Just keep your eye on the meta on how you want to itemize her. But most of the time, she is more at the utility. She's very good, like Zeke's holder, like putting Zeke's on her, putting aura items on her, and just putting her next to your Tristana or your Corki is usually how you'll play her. But I could definitely see patches where she is viable as a carry, and just keep your eye on the meta when that happens. All right, Sir Kanye. Kanye is a Ragewing, Shimmer Scale, and an Assassin. So he is a triple trader. Very good synergy bot to play in the early game. Just splash in your comp if you're playing on Ragewing, any of these, right? Very good to splash into your comp. What does Kanye do? It's his W from League of Legends, which is where he does a line. It's a line ability. So he can hit multiple hexes. I believe he can hit a maximum of 3 hexes. Maybe it's only 2. Where he slams it down. It deals attack damage to everyone hit, and then the nearest enemy that he hits, it deals a little bit of ability power. Since he is an assassin, if you guys want to carry him, he does scale with critical strike. So if you want to play him, you'll build items. Honestly, the items that Mobalytics recommend is not too bad. So Infinity Edge, BT, Edge of Night, so that could be pretty solid. Don't think about it too hard. Just build crit and AD if you want to carry him, and you're good to go. Standard assassin positioning, and position him in front of the units you want him to kill, and you are good to go. All right, Lilia. Lilia is one of my favorite units in the new set. She is a Scalescorn, Cavalier, and a Mage. Very, very, very good like splash unit, again, because she is a triple trader. You can fit her into a lot of comps. But yeah, she's very good with Cavalier and Mage. Cavalier and Mage is going to be a bread and butter that you'll play out this set. Also very good. Ends up being pretty good with trainers as well, because there is a Mage in the trainer class. But anyways, you position her on the front line. She is a frontline champion, and she is Cavalier, so she gains some innate tankiness in that. But what does she do? She has her Watch Out Eep from League of Legends, where she slams down her little staff. It's so fun watching her do it, and it deals some magic damage in a small AoE right in front of her. I believe it's like on the hex and then one hex around that hex that she actually slaps down. So it's a pretty small AoE, but it can be pretty devastating. Items I really like to play on her, I've actually played her quite a bit. I like, you know, obviously you can build just standard AP scaling. I really like building crit on her. Like JG Hodge for healing is very strong and does scale her damage as well. And then Ionic Spark I like a lot on her. I mean, you don't have to build it, you can build Shiv on one of your backliners, but I really like Ionic Spark because she gets right up in the face of her enemies before she hits them. Yeah, so those are some very solid items. The items that they recommend here are fine as well. She does actually have a small mana cost, so blue buff is okay, but again, she is a frontliner, so she's taking damage. So does she even need mana cost or mana gen? Probably not. I definitely prefer building the crit plus Ionic Spark is very strong on her. You can also itemize her with some tank items like a Warmogs because she does have flat resist because of Cavaliers. That is fine as well. But typically if you want to play her as a carry, I do like to full damage itemize her with a JG, Hodge, and a Ionic Spark, and you are good to go. But Lilia, very cool unit. Love this unit. Oh no. All right, Nami. Nami is another triple trader. Very good. She's a very good unit. As I said, Mage is pretty easy to play around the early mid game, and playing Mystic is very good. Playing Mystic is very good, especially if you want to play around trainers, because there is a Mage and a Mystic in trainers, so she fits very well in that comp. You'll be playing a lot of Nami in the set, I can imagine. So what does she do? It is her heal from League of Legends. I haven't played a lot of Nami, so I don't remember the exact ability name. But what she does is she heals herself or an ally and damages enemy, and it bounces back and forth. So she deals damage and heals. That's really what you need to know. If you want to itemize her, she's very good with like Sojin. Sojin is good. Death Cap, Archangels, those are going to be good. You want to build flat AP type of items so that you can scale both her healing and scale her damage. If you build something like IEGG, that does not scale her healing very much. So you definitely want to build like something like Sojin, Archangels, and Death Cap if you want to itemize her. She is a utility style unit, but in certain scenarios, you can play her as a carry or an off carry. If you ever try to carry her, you will need to find damage somewhere else in your build, like a Varus or something like that. Alrighty. Kiana is one of the utility style assassins. What does she do? She jumps to the backline. Obviously, she's an assassin, and she will throw out her Q, her water Q from League of Legends, which is a stun, and it is a line stun, and she will try to reposition herself to hit the maximum number of units. I believe the maximum she can hit is 2 hex, maybe it is 3. But yeah, very solid utility unit. You just place her in front of the enemy carry and you want to CC them. Items that you want to play on her, you can itemize her as a damage carry. I can imagine she will definitely have patches where you can itemize her as damage carry. The items that Mobalytics recommends here is fine, i.e. blue buff, Edge of Night. Those are perfectly fine. Things like I've seen people just slam like Ionic Spark because she does deal magic damage, jump to the backline. But if you're playing her as utility, she's going to be one of your good Frozen Heart users, and you just pop a Frozen Heart on her, watch her go to work. Maybe you're carrying your Kanye or your Diana or something like that, and just watch her go to work. But yeah, in general, she is a more of utility style of the assassin tree, but definitely could see patches where you can play her viable as a carry, in which case build something like Mobalytics recommends here, and you'll be good to go. All right. Shin. Shin is a Rage Wing warrior and a Bruiser, another triple trader here. Very good glue unit for early, mid game, and late game compositions, because if you're playing like a Rage Wing composition, it can allow you to play an Ornn who is also a Bruiser, which is very cool. So very strong unit overall in the set. Very tanky. So what does he get? He gets his little attack canceling field that he gets from League of Legends. It's a circle around him and 1 hex around him. He makes a little circle, and he can no longer, him and his allies can no longer be damaged by auto attacks. They can still be damaged by magic resist, or by magic damage. And Shin, during this duration, also gains a flat amount of magic resist. So he is a very good tank, and he's very good to place next to your carries. If you have a frontline carry, maybe like an Olaf or something, very good to put him next to them so that he can make your frontline carries even more tanky. So his best item, if you want to itemize him, is going to be a Dragon's Claw. I don't know why it isn't recommended, because he can you know, he can't take damage from auto attack. So if you build a Dragon's Claw, he is unkillable whenever he's in his defensive stance. So just standard take items, but Dragon's Claw is going to be very, very, very good on him. I can't imagine him being itemized as a carry. Maybe there'll be one patch where you put like, you stack Titans and a Dragon's Claw on him and he just goes to work. I could see that happening, but in general, he is just a tank for your warrior and rage wing style compositions. And remember, just make sure you position him next to your carry if you're going to play a frontline DPS like Olaf, Yone, that sort of thing. All right, Thresh. Thresh is exactly how he was in set 5, except for one small change. So what does he do? He just hooks. He just hooks the furthest enemy. That's all he does. So just position him just like you guys positioned Blitz or Thresh in the past. The only difference from his last iteration, which was when he was in set 5, is that he actually starts with full mana, similar to Blitz. So we will hook at the beginning of the fight. So no more guessing whether Thresh is going to hook your carry or not because of how fight RNG works and your units move. No more guessing. He will just hook the furthest target, just like Blitz. The difference he has with Blitz, guys, is that Blitz pulls the unit all the way to him. Thresh just kind of drags the unit a few hexes. One thing to note about positioning against Thresh, let's say you're playing Jinx or something, and the enemy Thresh is on the other side, and you have like this going on. If you put a ranged unit in front of your ranged unit and he hooks, if there's no pathway for her to get out, she'll just stay. She'll just stay right there. She won't go anywhere. She'll just get stunned. Cool. So that is Thresh. Pretty simple. He is a Whisper and a Guardian. You just position him wherever you want to hook the enemy to. That's how you do it. All right, Tristana. Tristana is one of the carries for the Cannoneer comp and can be a carry for the Trainer composition. She is a carry for sure. So she gets her little bomb from League of Legends where she puts it on an enemy and it stacks up and then it explodes. Whenever she does cast it, she does cast it on multiple enemies and it deals some AD damage. Very, very, very strong ability. Very, very strong unit. So how do you build her? You just build attack speed and AD items on her and you're good to go. If you build something like this, you'll be fine. Other items like BT, Deathblade, you know, you could do, you know, that sounds good to me. These items or Deathblade BT, you know, Giant Slayer, those are all going to be great items. So just standard carry type stuff, good item holder for Corki, or just a good carry in the Trainer composition, you'll be good to go. All right, Twitch, standard backline back here. He is a guild and a swift shot. Guild is a very strong trait to play out throughout the game, but he is a guild and a swift shot. He is a mixture of utility and carry. You can definitely play him as a carry if you want to reroll him, and if you want to reroll him, oh, I didn't even say what he does, but he is a mixture of a carry and a utility unit. So the items you want to build on him, if he's your utility unit, you don't build any items. What does he actually do? He throws out his cask in front of him. It only hits one enemy, so he throws it out at his target and it shreds their resist and it deals a little bit of damage. That's what he does. If you guys want to play him as a supportive style unit, he's just very good to splash in because he has guild, so you can play him with, you know, with your Zayas, with your Ashe, all that good stuff. If you want to play him that way, you don't itemize him at all, obviously. But if you want to itemize him as a carry, Rage Weight is an extremely good item. Giant Slayer, you can do this style build if you want to. Runan is going to be good. BT is going to be good. So standard 80 carry items. But I do really like to be able to fit a Runans or a Rage Blade, just help him get that extra damage off. And then a way to shred the enemy because he will be hitting the front line. So he does shred armor. So a Giant Slayer is really, really, really good on him since he naturally can shred armor on his own. All right, Yone. Yone is one of my favorite units for sure. I love playing Yone. So Yone actually doesn't have an ability. He just auto attacks and he alternates between AD and magic damage because he has his 2 swords. So he is actually hybrid. I love playing Yone. Yone, he is a frontline carry. So you typically, the way you position frontline carries usually is you want to second row them and then put your tankiest member in front of them. So something like this, so that enemies will aggro onto your Shin, and then Yone will just be up here free hitting, and then we'll get the bonus from your Shin for protecting him. And again, he doesn't need to generate mana, so he doesn't gain value from people hitting him. So that's why you want to position him that way. He is a Mirage and a Warrior, and I really, really, really like very particular items on him. This item build that it suggests right here is okay. Rage Blade is a fine item on him. RFC is a good item on him. BT is okay. It is my least favorite of the carry items, or least favorite of the healing style items. Some items I think are really, really, really strong on him that I've been very successful with. QSS Titans Hodge. It just QSS is extremely good. I think QSS or RFC is pretty mandatory on Yone if you want to actually carry him in the late game. If you want to carry him, that is what he does. So RFC or QSS is going to be pretty mandatory for the late game. And then healing is very good. Hodge will help with your dual scaling, right? Gives you great Omnivamp and gives you great dual scaling. And Hextech Gunblade is very good. BT, again, is my least favorite of these items, but I love Gunblade because you get to heal your ally as well, and you get that dual scaling with, you get a sword and a rod, which will help you with that. So I really like Titans as well because it does give you that dual scaling. Once your QSS is ran out, now you're big and tanky. So yeah, I think any combination of a healing item plus, you can go a healing item plus you need uptime, which is going to be RFC or QSS, and then either more damage like a Giant Slayer or Jeweled or Infinity Edge or something, or Titans. So more damage or Titans. Runans is also a good item. I played a Runans. Yone was pretty strong, but I love Yone, one of my favorite units playing this set. All right, Anivia. Anivia is a Jade Evoker and Legend. If you guys play League of Legends, what she does, she casts her ultimate from League of Legends at her target. What it is a big magic damage field. It is, I believe, 2 hex range, so it's about this big. So it is 2 hex range. She throws it out, deals magic damage. It does tick over time, and it does slow their attack speed, I believe. I do believe it does slow their attack speed, but she is primarily going to be a DPS whenever you play her, or a synergy bot if you need to play a synergy bot for that. But she is really more of a DPS. Her utility is not that good, except for if you're playing against somebody who has a frontline DPS carry and you can put them in front of them to slow the attack speed. But yeah, she's going to use standard AP scaling items. She's more of a Sojourn user, but blue buff is fine too. Gunblade, extremely good item on her. Morello can be good if you just want her for the Morello value, but if you're wanting to play her like, if you're actually wanting to play her as like a DPS, Sojourn or blue buff for her mana gen. She does gain natural mana gen through Evoker, and then just AP scaling like Archangel's extremely good on her. She reminds me a lot of Misfortune. If you guys have played Misfortune in the past, just itemize her like Misfortune. Very good with stall like compositions, but you can also build like JGIE as well if you want to. But I think she'll be a little bit better of like an Archangel style user for sure. And one thing I'll just say, because if I don't say it, somebody will write it in the comments. She does have a hidden synergy with Revel. So if you can get a Revel emblem onto her, it is extremely strong on her. If you know, you know. All right, Diana. Diana is an assassin and a scale scoring. She is primarily a carry. She doesn't really have any utility in her kit. So whenever you play her, you'll play her as a carry, or if you need to play her as a synergy bot to get scale scoring, or you need to get 4 assassins, something like that. But typically you want to itemize her if you're going to play her, unless she is a synergy bot. She is a carry. She is exactly the same as she was in set 4, except for she is a 3 cost instead of a 1 cost. And so what she does is she gets her orbs that go around her from League of Legends, which some orbs that go around her, and it damages anyone the orbs touches, and when the orbs blow up, it grants her a shield. So she gets a flat shield right when she casts, and then after all the orbs, each orb when they explode, they add to her shield. So she can be very tanky as well. She's a standard assassin, so you just position her in front of the people you want to kill. Items are going to be very good on here. Mobudox will probably get this right. IE Titans, that's your bread and butter right there. IE Titans, very, very, very strong. After that, healing is going to be very good. Hodge is our best healing item because it does add to some crit scaling. You can go Edge of Night if you can't get any healing items, but you want to go Hodge or Gunblade. IE Titans, Hodge or Gunblade, you are good to go. You can also itemize our full tank. It definitely can work out. That depends on the meta, but that can work out as well. You can do some flat scaling items like Archangels can work okay as well, but your bread and butter really is going to be Titans. Titans, IE, and Hodge. That's just how she's always been played. Very, very, very strong in that way. Okay, Elise. Elise is a very cool unit. She's a Whisper and a Shapeshifter. So she starts out in her human form, and then she'll turn into a spider. When she turns into a spider, she bites onto the enemy. She does her Q from League of Legends, so she'll just bite, dealing some extra magic damage, right? And if she kills them, she will repel and then come down and then bite again. And then she'll repel and then bite again. So she becomes invulnerable. So you do want her to stack executing, or you can stack like attack speed. It's very interesting. You can play her in a few different ways. So the 2 ways that you typically play Elise is, she is a carry, by the way. You play her at a 1-shot. So this is a 1-shot style build with some healing that'll help you out in the fight. So full crit. so that you can one-shot whoever you're fighting. And then you end up usually duo carry with Siphon, which is an AD style unit, or a tank. And you'll need somebody to shred the magic resist for her so that she can one-shot. So having an Ionic Spark on your Siphon or something, or having a Static Shiv on someone else will help at least get her executes off. So you either want to build her like an execute champion, or Whispers does have a natural stacking, kind of like a stacking thing in her, and Whispers does naturally shred, but you can get some extra shred in your team. Can be very nice. It does have an innate stacking, so you can build something like a Rageblade Titans that can also totally work. It's just like a different way to play her. So you either want to build like stacking style items, or you want to build her to full one shot. And now that I'm rethinking about the Whisper thing, maybe you don't need shred on your team, but it can always help for sure. All right, Alawi. Okay, Alawi is a tank and utility style unit. Actually, she fulfills both of those roles. She's an Astral and a Bruiser. She's usually a premier tank when you're playing Astral reroll, but if you're not playing, you usually just play her with Astrals. But if you end up needing to play her for 4 Bruiser or something like that, she can be a solid utility unit. You typically want to either solo tank her to get maximum value on her ability, but if she's not your main tank, then obviously you don't want to do that. That's if you're main tanking. If you're not main tanking her, then you want to position her in front of your carry. So let's say, I mean, these units don't really work together, but let's say you're carrying this Tristana. You want to place Alawi in front of whoever Tristana is auto attacking beat. The reason why you want to do that is what Alawi does is she does her W from League of Legends, where she kind of pounces on an enemy, and then some tentacles spawn and they slap out. So 3 tentacles spawn, and it can hit in like a really small AoE. The targeting is kind of weird. It goes towards her target, but if anybody gets like in the collateral damage of the tentacles, it can hit multiple enemies. That's why she's really good as a solo frontliner. So they surround her and she get maximum value on the people that she's slapping down on. It deals some flat magic damage, and it does steal some of their resistances. So it'll actually take their resistances, so it will shred them and will make Alawi tankier. That's why it's really good to solo frontline her. Very solid tanky and utility style unit. All right, Lee Sin. Very cool unit. One of my favorite units. I just love Lee Sin, guys. Lee Sin is primarily a tank. I don't know, he's kind of like everything. He's kind of a jack of all trades, but he's more primarily like a tank and support. But there's definitely going to be patches where you can carry him, and there's definitely been PvE patches already where you can kind of carry him, because he is a Dragonmancer and a Tempest. So what does he actually do? He gets his kick from League of Legends. He can't kick them off the map like he could in set 4. He's not a legendary unit, guys, but he can kick. So he kicks them, and it deals magic damage in a very small AoE, and then anybody that unit hits, so if he hits another of his friend's unit, so let's say like kicks this Nidalee and Sejuani's behind it, it'll actually deal damage to both of them. Very cool. Also the same will happen if like they're both like this and he kicks this unit, it usually will damage the unit next to them. So yeah, very good tank. And when you're playing Dragonmancer, a lot of times you'll end up just making him your hero and solo frontlining him. Can be very good. If you want to itemize him, these are actually really solid items. I don't actually like Titans. I know a lot of people build it, but I'm just not on the Titans hype train. But QSS can be very, if you guys actually want to like carry him, QSS and BT are really good. I know I just said he deals magic damage, but Dragonmancer scales with HP. It scales up your HP, and then if you 3-star him, he's just gonna have so much HP, and BT also scales with HP. So building QSS and Bloodthirster, and I usually just round it out with a tank item, or maybe like even like a Spark, even a Warmog's, Stoneplate. So usually that's how you round it out. Very weird unit to play, and I could definitely see his build is going to change quite a bit throughout the set. So just keep an eye on that. All right, Lulu, she is a trainer, mystic, and evoker. She has her polymorph from League of Legends. So what does she do? Very good utility unit. So her ability is she, I think it's 3. It scales on her star level. I think it goes 2, 3, and 5. That'll change from balance, obviously. But the 3 closest units, she will either give your allies attack speed, or she will CC the enemy, and she turns them, she polymorphs them down into little creatures, and they can't do anything for a short duration. So you always just want to position her next to your carry. So if you're carrying a Tristana or something like that, oh wow, Namzi gets to spawn now, cool, on Mobalytics. You just want to position her right next to your carry. She'll either buff them with attack speed, or she'll block the she'll CC anybody diving your carries. If you want to itemize her, you just put the aura items on her. She is a pure supportive unit. If you want to put a carry style item on her, the only one is Spear of Sojin. So exactly what Mobalytics recommends here is going to be your best bet usually. Alrighty, we are on Lulu and we are on Nunu. All right, Nunu is a Mirage and Cavalier. He's very similar to iterations of Nunu in the past. We've set 5, where he bites a unit in front of him, dealing magic damage. But if they are below a certain threshold, if he's able to execute them or they're below a certain threshold, he gets to gobble them up and he just eats them. He just deals true damage and eats them. Very, very, very cool. So Nunu is like a tanky slash DPS style unit slash UT. I don't know. He fulfills a lot of roles, but typically you can just build tank items and a gunblade if you want to itemize him. A lot of times you don't itemize him, but if you actually want to reroll him, some good builds are going to be some tanky plus gunblade is going to be good. He's going to be really unkillable and will be healing himself like crazy. You can build him kind of like Elise, like just full balls to the wall damage. You know, you can build like IE JG Hodge. It's kind of fun to do that, but you do run the risk of getting CC'd. But yeah, you can play him as a carry or just like a standard splash unit for Mirage and Cavalier. Very fun to play, and it's very cool him being a Cavalier because he actually dashes around the map, getting to gobble people up. I'm sure you guys will have a blast playing him. Spark is also very good on him. So tank, AP items, and healing items are good on Nunu if you guys want to itemize him. Very fun to play. Standard frontline positioning here. Okay, Olaf. He is a Scale Scorn, Bruiser, and Warrior. So a little bit of a triple trader there, obviously. He is a carry in the warrior composition. He really doesn't fulfill any role. And now he has 2 parts to his ability. Every time he dies, he gains AD, permanently stacking throughout the set. So think Cho'Gath. Every time he eats an enemy, he would gain HP. Every time Olaf dies, he gains attack damage. So if you want to play Olaf, typically if you get him really early, you want to kind of play like a lose streak style. I've played Olaf full win streak and it's worked out as well, but if you want to maximize your Olaf, you do want him to die a lot in the early game. So maybe you can play a lose streak style and kind of solo front on your Olaf to try to maximize the value. That's something that you can do. But other than that, after you get out of that phase, you just want to do standard frontline positioning, which is going standard frontline carry positioning, which is usually going to be second row behind your tankiest member. So just like this, like we talked about with Yone, you'll position like that if you're carrying the Olaf. So what does Olaf actually do? Olaf does kind of his, it's his E from League of Legends where he kind of slams on lightning. So he slams on lightning, he'll do some attack damage to the target he's hitting, and then he gains some attack speed after that. For a duration. And so some items you want to slam on him, it's going to be standard AD carry items like, you know, Rage Blade BT is probably his best item, so BT is always going to be very good on him. Rage Blade's good. Infinity Edge is going to be good because he has gained that flat AD. Giant Slayer is going to be good. Titans is going to be good. Runan is going to be good. RFC is going to be good. QSS is going to be good. So standard AD carry items, but you know, you need to remember that he is on the front line. So things like Titans and QSS are also very strong items, and he is limited to hitting frontline champions. So stuff like Giant Slayer is also going to be very good. Just pay attention to the meta to see what are the best AD carry items for him at the time. But yeah, just AD carry items. He's a carry. Okay, Rise. Rise is a very unique unit. He's a guild and a mage. So Rise doesn't really have an ability I can say from League of Legends. So he does throw out his Q from League of Legends, which is just a skill shot. It's just a line skill shot that he throws out in front of himself, and it'll hit the closest, or yeah, it'll just hit the closest target. He'll shoot it at his target, but it'll get stopped. It'll get hit by the closest target, I believe. Maybe it will actually hit through, but it doesn't really matter that much. And so what he does is, it's really weird to explain. Whenever he casts, he shoots out some orbs, right? And every time he casts, his mana cost increases. But every time his mana cost increases, his damage scales with his mana cost. So the more his mana cost, the more damage he'll deal, but the harder it is for him to cast because he has a higher mana cost. So if you guys want to carry him, his best item is going to be Sojourn. Blue buff is really good to front load his damage because you can get like the first 3 cast off really fast. But Sojourn is going to be good if you're going to be playing into extended fights. After that, standard AP items like Death Cap, Jeweled Gauntlet are good. You can actually build Rage Blade instead of building Sojourn or Blue Buff. That's also gonna be very good if you think it's gonna go late, and build like stuff like Archangel's Gunblade to kind of fulfill that style. So just keep an eye on the meta and what it is. But in general, you just need a way to generate mana and you need some AP. So don't think about it too hard and just play whatever the best AP items are at the time. Stalling items are gonna be very good for him though, for sure, because he does need a lot of time. All right, Swain. Swain is very cool. He's a Rage Wing, Dragonmancer, and Shapeshifter triple trader right here as well. Very good unit to play. When you guys start to play this set, you'll realize Rage Wing and Dragonmancer are very easy to play around the early game, and because Swain and Set share both of those traits, you see. So Swain will play a lot in your early game comps if you're going to be playing around Dragonmancer or Ragewing. So Swain, what he does, he turns into his big dragon form, but he's not a frontliner anymore, guys. He is a backliner. And so what he does is when he turns to a dragon, instead of auto attacking people, he now spits fireballs, and his fireballs just deal magic damage. So he doesn't deal attack damage anymore, at least at the time when we make this video. It just purely converts his auto attacks into fireballs. So I believe Shin can also block them because they are coded as auto attacks. It does scale with AP and attack speed. The items that suggest right here are okay, but you are not going to hurt anybody if you build these items. But this is okay, and I can see this being meta on a certain patch. But I really like building Rageblade, Static Shiv, plus either healing or AP is going to be your bread and butter. So a build I found really successful was Rageblade, Static Shiv, Giant Slayer. That's worked out for me really well. Rageblade, Static Shiv, Archangel. It's worked out really well. Rageblade, Static Shiv, a Gunblade really worked out for me. Again, you don't have to build Static Shiv, but you do probably want magic resist. And if you're or magic shred in your composition, and if you're already building a Rageblade on him, it makes the most sense that he would be your carrier of the Static Shiv item. He can do a lot of damage with that item. So generally when you play Swain, you want fights go kind of late, so you want scaling style AP items or healing, and you're good to go. Swain's really fun to play. Also a very good item holder for Zaya. If you're going to play like Shredder Zaya with Shivs and that sort of thing, you can carry your items for Zaya before you get there. Okay, Silas. Silas is a Whisper, a mage, and a bruiser. He is a tank and utility unit. He's definitely not balanced to be a carry. I could see a patch where maybe he can deal some damage, but they really don't want to balance him as a carry. He's going to be balanced as a utility and tank unit. And so what do you want to build on him? Primarily, you want to build tank items if you want to itemize him. He's really good splash unit. Like, you know, he splashes in for Whispers, Mage, and Bruiser. But yeah, he's really good with tanky items. You know, the item they suggest right here, except for the Sojin, don't look at the Sojin, just don't look at it. Titan's Gunblade could totally be fine if you want to actually itemize him. Other than that, I would usually just itemize him tank items if I wanted to itemize him, and just solo frontline him, because what he does is he gets his auto attack passive from Leak. So he spins his chains around himself, and it mana reaves the people around him. So it mana reaves them. So he's really good as a solo frontliner, because if the enemies surround him and then he swings his chains around, he'll mana reaves. And if he swings his chains and hits a unit that he's already mana reave, then he gains a shield that scales with AP. And the thing about mages is mages double cast. So if you have mage active, he will always get the shield, because he'll whip his chains around, mana weave, and then he'll rip him around again, and he'll gain his shield. So yeah, typically you can solo frontline him if you want to main tank him. But other than that, if you're not main tanking him and you're just playing him to get like for mage or for bruiser, then you want to make sure he's positioned in front of the enemy's most important CC unit or their carry. So if you position him like in front of a Hecarim or an Ornn and he mana reaves him, that can really change your fight. Or just position in front of a carry like Olaf or something like that, and that can also change Olaf, Lilia, something like that, and that can also change the fight quite a bit. Silas, a pretty cool unit. All right, Varus. Varus is a Swift Shot and Astral. He'll be one of your carries whenever you want to play Astral style units. In Swift Shot, if you ever want to play like a 4 Swift Shot style build, unless you're a main carrying him, he can actually fulfill a supportive style role. So what does he do? He deals a mixture of attack damage and magic damage. So it scales with both. It's weird, but he mostly deals attack damage. And what he does whenever he throws out his ultimate is he shoots his ultimate. And it's his ultimate from League of Legends, which is it's a root that he shoots out, and it actually functions as a stun in this game. But he shoots out a stun at his target, and it'll spread to two other units, 2 other enemies, and they'll all be stunned for a short duration, and it'll deal some magic damage, and it deals like weird attack damage in there as well. It's a weird hybrid style build. I actually play a lot of Varus, and he reminds me a lot of Set 5 Varus, because he does have some hybridness into him. If you want to just spam his if you just want to spam his ability and you're playing him more like kind of like an off carry, I could see building something like this being good, like a Sojin, Static Shiv, Rageblade. I could see that totally being good. But if you actually want to DPS carry him, I really like going full crit, like IE, JG, Hodge, and you can really get a lot of value out of his hybrid style damage. He does mostly deal attack damage, but every time I build this style of damage, I'll look at my damage profile and it'll be like 60-40 attack damage, ability power respectively. So I do like the full crit variation of Varus. You can also totally just go like IE Hodge. Rageblade can be very strong as well. You build Runans and stuff like that. You can build them like a standard attack damage carry. But yeah, very cool unit, very dynamic in what his items will be. So just keep an eye out for what carry items you want to play on carry Varus. Typically you play him carry in the Astral Reroll build if you want to play him. And then other than that, he can fulfill a utility style role in a Swift Shot variation build. So just be looking out for whatever items are meta at the time whenever you play him. All right, Volibear. Volibear was a menace on the PvE, guys. He is a Shimmer Scale Dragonmancer and Legend. He is extremely similar to how he was in set 1. If you guys played set 1 at TFT, wow, going all the way back. And let's look at some items. Okay, these items are okay. These items are okay. So what does Volibear actually do? Let's talk about what he does, and that'll help explain the items. He is a carry. He doesn't really fulfill any other role. He's a carry, or he's going to just be a synergy bot for your Shimmer Scale or your Dragonmancer. That's really what he does. So if you're playing Volibear, his best item, what does he actually do? So every third auto attack after he casts, whenever he casts his ultimate, he gets really big. And then after he's really big, he gains some HP. He starts slapping people, and every third auto attack, he'll deal some lightning damage that'll spread to enemies, and it deals a lot of damage. So that's what he does. He is purely just a carry. He doesn't really function as a tank unless you're like playing him to get like static shiv procs or something. I don't know. So you need uptime on him. So something like an RFC is fine, but typically you just put QSS on him. That is the most reliable way to get uptime, because you need you need him to ult and auto 6 times so that he can get 2 ability cast off, basically, is what you want. So building something like a QSS plus flat AP is really good. Building like a Giant Slayer is good. Building Hodge is good. You can even build a Rageblade. Static Shiv is good. Spark is good because he needs to shred them because he's dealing magic damage. But in general, you just build QSS plus 2, and it's just flat AP, or like healing, Giant Slayer, Gunblade, that sort of thing. Those are all fine. Or I guess you could build a tanky style item on him if you wanted to. But yeah, if you want to carry him, guys, it's just QSS plus 2. Pretty simple. Very fun unit. I don't know if he'll be viable once the set goes live, because he was really strong and they gutted him. All right, the Corkster. Corky is a Revel and Cannoneer. So now we're on to the 4 cost. He is like the AD caster of the set. So usually every set has an AD assassin, an attack speed based AD carry, and a casting style AD carry. Usually that's how all the sets work out. And he is the caster style. He's a Revel and Cannoneer. He does deal attack damage. Revel itself deals magic damage. So if you look at his damage profile, you'll see he deals a lot of magic damage, but that is from his trait, not from him himself. So what does he do? Whenever he casts his ability, he shoots out a barrage of missiles, and then he shoots his big one from League of Legends, which is a big rocket. And it's really funny to watch in this because it's a big red rocket that moves really slow. He shoots it at his target, and it can actually miss. Maybe that'll be changed later, but it can totally actually miss. I see it miss all the time. And it deals attack damage, so he just scales his attack damage. So standard AD carry stuff, guys. You can build him crit. You just got to pay attention to what's meta at the time. You can build crit, QSS, Rageblade, Deathblade, Hodge, just standard AD carry items, guys. You'll be good to go. All right, Hecarim. He is a Ragewing and a Cavalier. He is going to be one of your premier tanks to play in this set. Going to be a unit that you can look to play pretty much every game, but he is one of the premier tanks of the Ragewing build or a Cavalier style build. But again, if you can fit him in, you can fit him in because he's really good. He gets his ultimate from League of Legends, where he shoots out a bunch of ghost versions of himself. And the ghost versions will fear the enemies, which the way fear functions this is just a stun. But you will get the little fear symbol, so it looks cool. He throws it out and he'll just stun. It's a big AoE and he shoots it towards his target, similar to kind of how Braum functioned from last set. So you'll need to position around that to make sure that you fear the targets that you want to fear. And it's very cool. That's what he does. He's just a standard tank. You'll build tank items on him. That's all you really need to know. He's just a god tank. You just build tank. Cool. Very good unit to play in your build. Nico. Now she is a very unique champion, and I'm just going to go ahead and put Ornn on the board so it'll help me explain how Nico functions. Okay, Nico is a Jade and a Shapeshifter. That is what she does. And so what Nico does is she copies the stats of her closest ally. So she copies their stats. She copies their attack speed is the main thing that she copies. And this will get changed so much. And I'll put another unit on the board. Let's just put a backline carry. Okay, so you can play her in a few ways. So she copies her stats and then she gains a shield based off of her HP. Or maybe, did they change this shit all the time? But she gains a stack, she gains a shield based off of HP. And when that shield pops, she turns back into Nico. So she'll turn into whoever she's next to. She'll turn into Zai. She doesn't get her items, but she'll get her base attack speed. And so she can be attacking really fast. And if her shield pops, she'll turn back into Nico. And same thing happens to Ornn. She'll turn into Ornn. She'll beat Ornn. But when she doesn't have mana, but when her shield pops, she'll turn into Nico. And when she turns into Nico, she does her ultimate from League of Legends and past variations of Nico that's been in TFT, set 3 Nico. She jumps up in the air, slams down, and does a stun in a pretty big AoE, actually. So there's two ways that you can play her. You can play her on front line or you can play her on back line. Typically, you'll play her on front line. So you just position her right next to your tankiest member or wherever you want the CC to go off. So let's say our tankiest member is here and we want our CC to go off here. We'll place her next to her. She'll turn into Ornn. And as soon as her shield pops, she'll jump up in the air and she'll stun. After that, she can gain mana, so she can stun again, so she can keep doing it. So yeah, typically you'll play her like that, and you'll position her in front of the enemy carries or just next to your tankiest member. Other way you can position her, if you're trying to CC assassin, something like that, you can position her backline. You know, like if you're trying to protect your Zai, you can put her right here. Talon jumps your backline, pops the Nico shield, she jumps down, stuns them, Zai kills them, and you're good to go. So those are the two ways that you can play Nico. How do you itemize her? Typically, you can build her tank because it is... unless you're playing against a frontline DPS, you have no backline access. So it's really hard to get to the backline. So typically you build her kind of like a tank. But I definitely see patches where building her like full damage could be good. Building her spark plus full damage items or healing or something like that. I could totally see that being good. But at the time we make this video, she's more viable as just like a utility style unit. Or you can actually itemize her as tank to get a lot of value. But definitely in metas where there's a lot of frontline carries, I could see her also being a carry in that regard. All right, let's drop Nico. All right, my main man, Ornn. Ornn is a Tempest, Bruiser, and a Legend, a little triple trader right there, isn't he? So what does Ornn get? Ornn is one of your premier tanks and a CC style unit, so utility unit as well. If you can fit Ornn into your comp, you usually want him into your comp in the late game. Very, very good unit. And so what he does, he just purely gets his ultimate from League. So he casts the Ornn Horn, and so a big ram comes across the map. Big ram comes across the map dealing some damage to the people pass through. He does it towards the furthest enemy, I believe, and then he headbutts it back, and then it goes back pretty much the same direction usually, and it'll knock up everyone in its path. So very, very, very solid unit. Standard frontline positioning, guys. Just put them on the front line. You can put them in front of the unit that you want to CC because the ram will always come to Ornn. So you can guarantee a CC unit if you put them in front of that enemy. Or you can do it on the opposite side of their backline carry because it'll usually go towards that side. But guys, standard tank items, pretty simple. Build tank. You're good to go. Okay, Sona. Sona is a Revel and Evoker. Sona is extremely similar to Seraphine if you guys played last set. So what she, it's funny, Sona and Seraphine, they're always similar. But what she does as her ability is she throws out her power chord, which is her ultimate from League of Legends. It is a line stun that goes across the board towards the furthest enemy. So you want to position her on the opposite side. On the opposite side of whoever you want to CC. The other way you can position her is like you can position her next to your carry so that they'll always CC people in front of your carry, right? Like if somebody's jumping you right here, it'll CC right there, right? Cool. So yeah, so she shoots out her power chord, it stuns and deals magic damage. Typically you don't itemize her. She is just a really solid utility unit for Revel, Evoker. Also just a really good stun if you can fit her into your comp and it makes sense and fit her in because just you want more CC in the late game. There's a lot of CC in the late game. So if you don't have CC and they have CC, it's hard to play the game. But very, very, very solid unit. I could see patches where you can itemize her as a carry. But for now, she is more of like a Morello style user. Just like Sojin. Like you do like Sojin Morello just for like that utility style stuff. But I could totally see patches where like Sojin double Archangel could be really good and you play her as a damage carry. I could totally see that happening. So that's how you play her. All right, Talon. Talon, at the time we make this video, kind of sucks. But he is the late game, he is like the AD assassin, the standard AD assassin that I was talking about, the AD trio. You have the assassin, the on hit, and the caster. He is the assassin. At the time we make this video, he kind of sucks. But he probably doesn't suck later. So what he does, he's standard assassin, he jumps, so you put him in front of whoever you want him to kill. He'll be auto attacking them, and then when he ults, he shoots out blades around him, and he becomes untargetable. And when he shoots out the blades, he can deal some damage sometimes. It's kind of weird. He's a very weird unit. And then he jumps to the lowest health enemy, and all the blades converge on the enemy and deal damage just to that enemy. So he is just a standard assassin, but he is kind of weird because you could be attacking somebody and then you could just jump away from the guy you're attacking. But typically you still want to make sure to position him in front of the enemy that you want to kill, because hopefully Talon will jump that enemy, will damage them enough to where when he ults, he'll jump back onto that enemy. You know what I'm saying? So standard assassin stuff, itemizing him, standard assassin. You want to build Infinity Edge. After that, really depend on what's meta, like Giant Sir could be very good for him. Last Whisper could be good. QSS, BT, Runans could be solid sometimes. You know, he has a lot of attack damage. RFC could be good to give him some uptime. So standard assassin stuff, guys, not too special. All right, Xayah. Xayah's a very satisfying unit to watch play. She is the attack speed variant of our AD trio. So she is the on hit of the AD trio. She is Rage Wing and Swift Shot. What she does is whenever she gets her ultimate or her ability ready, she gains some attack speed, and she starts, you know, she auto attacks really fast, and she drops feathers all across the map. And then once that duration runs up, you'll see the meter going down. It's her Rage Wing meter. You'll see it going down once it's over. Once the duration is over, she'll rip back the feathers, dealing attack damage to the enemies. That attack damage can scale with AP, but she's primarily scaling with attack damage. So you can build her like a standard AD carry, guys. You can build Giant Slayer, Deathblade. You can build IE, Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, QSS, Rageblade, RFC, Runans, all that shit. All that shit is good. You can also build her like a shredder, just like you built Sivir in the past and past variations of Xayah, where you can just do like QSS, Rageblade, Static Shiv, you know, just play for Static Shiv proc. So either build her like a standard AD carry or build her as a shredder. And you're good to go. She is one of our premier late game carries and the premier carry of the Rage Wing composition. Okay, Brad, or Bard, if you want to call him by his real name, but Brad. Brad is a goated unit. He is like the Yumi of this set. If you can fit him, you want to play him. And he has a bunch of stuff going on with him. So he is a Bard. He gets his own unique trait, and I'll just read it. Allies that survive combat have a 20% chance to create a Doot. Wait, that is not correct. That is not correct. Okay, never mind. I will not read that. I will just tell you what he does. He has a Guild and a Mystic as well. So Bard gets his ultimate from League of Legends, where he throws it down, throws down a big gold field, but it works a little bit different from League of Legends. He throws it out. It's a big AoE. He'll throw it at the biggest group of enemies. It is a really big AoE. And what it'll do is it'll stun them, but it doesn't make them invulnerable like it does in League of Legends, but he'll stun a big section of the enemy board. And when they're stunned, it's pretty short duration. Whenever they're stunned, they'll take increased damage from your enemy. So extremely good unit. And whenever he throws it out, Bard starts to dance. He starts to vibe it out. And every time he vibes it out, he spawns a Doot. And a Doot is just looks like a little musical note. And you collect the Doots at the end of the round or whenever he spawns it, just like when gold spawns. It will now increase your odds for 5, 4, and 3 costs. And it takes those odds from your 1 and 2 costs. And it just does them one at a time. So like it'll do like your 5 costs first, then 3 costs, and 4 costs, and 5 costs, and 3 costs, and 4 costs, and 5 costs. So like that. Or I might get that rotation kind of wrong. But you know, what I'm saying is it does it one at a time. Each Doot will do 1% on each. And you're good to go. Really OP unit, guys. You don't really itemize him. You can itemize him with a Sojourn if you want to, but you really don't itemize him. He's just like God. Play Bard. All right, Pyke. Pyke is a Whisper and Assassin. He is our late game assassin. He is very strong, you know, in the right circumstances. So what does he do? He gets the X marks the spot. He gets his ultimate from League of Legends. So what he does is whenever he gets ready to cast his ability, he jumps in the air and he slams down on the lowest health ally, does his big X. So it does actually hit in an X formation. So if he like let's say Pyke is casting exactly where he's standing, it will go in an X. So it can go in AoE, does hit AoE. If he kills the target, he'll immediately recast again. So yeah, if he kills him, he'll just cast again. So you can get some crazy like dunk style, like Darius style dunking on people. So yeah, you just want to build him full damage, balls to the wall damage usually. So you can go like IE, Hodge, Gunblade is fine. You can also build a blue buff on him if you don't trust to get the execute. If you build blue buff and he does it, it's pretty good. Gunblade is really good to keep him alive so he can keep executing because he does not become invulnerable. So this build that Mobalytics recommends is fine. But yeah, you can just go balls to the wall damage like Hodge, IE, Edge and Knight, yeah. You know, you can just do that and you're good to go. But yeah, it's just a standard. He does deal magic damage, though. That is important to know. He does deal magic damage, but he's an assassin. That's why you build Infinity Edge, and you're good to go. Very, very, very strong late game unit. All right, Soraka. Soraka is a star caller and a Jade. Let's see if they get this correct. Okay, the first star caller to cast their ability heals you for 2, 4, and 100, depending on their star level. This heals your, and it's actually, I think it's 2, 4, and 75 now. But whatever, it doesn't matter. You'll never get a 3-star Soraka. So Soraka heals your little legend. Actually heals your little legend. So whenever she casts, she'll heal your little legend. It's pretty OP. And then she'll also heal the people on your board. It'll kind of just like disperse the heal throughout all of your allies. Very, very, very good unit. Very good unit to just splash into your comp, especially if you're running a stall build. Very good to help you stall it out because she does do some fat healing. Typically, you don't really itemize her, so it's kind of like similar to a Bard situation. If you want to itemize her, it's just like Sojin and like utility style items. You don't really itemize her. I could see a world where building like a death cap on her could be like pretty OP, but you know, for now, it's just Sojin if you want to itemize her. But you know, you just try to splash her in if you can. Helps heal your little legend. Can be pretty OP if you can fit her in. Okay, Yasuo. Yasuo is a Mirage, Dragonmancer, and Warrior. He is very strong. He is kind of like a god unit. He can function. He's primarily a damage carry and a supportive style unit. He has a lot of utility, but you can also function him as a tank. So what does Yasuo do? Yasuo dashes through his enemy. Whenever he casts, he dashes through and he does a little spin. And every third dash, he knocks people up. So he can get a big knock up and it can get really wild. And it scales with AD damage as he is a warrior. He's also a Dragonmancer as well, so you can make him super tanky. You can make him into your hero. Very, very, very cool unit to play around. So you can build him like Bloodthirster Titans IE is like a very strong build. That can totally be a very strong build. So you could just build him like a standard frontline 80 carry, like QSS, BT, IE, Giant Slayer. I had a game where I did Giant Slayer, Hodge. He just popped off like crazy. I've also had games where I just put them full tank and just watch them just getting some crazy CC. Also like totally, if I'm already carrying someone else and I get him, sometimes I'll just play him in my comp for the CC. So he's just extremely good. But if you want to itemize him like a standard frontline 80 carry, like similar to like Olaf, something like that. You want to itemize him that way. He'll be very, very, very strong. Yasuo is very cool. Oh, one other thing about Yasuo is he has kind of like a Teemo function, like the Cruel function in set 5. If the enemy only has 1 unit left on his board, he'll just slice him up and do like 20k true damage. It's pretty cool. So if you ever get in a situation where the enemy only has 1 unit left and your Yasuo is alive, he'll just slice them up and you're good to go. All right, Zoe. Zoe's another really weird unit. She is a spell thief, shimmer scale, and a mage. So Zoe is extremely unique, and the spell thief is her unique thing. So she actually has 4 different abilities that she rotates through, and you'll know which ability she's going to cast before she does it every single time, because it'll show a little marker. You'll see it. And so she has 4 abilities she can rotate through. She has Kale's ult from set 1, I believe, which is where she can make the lowest health allies on her team invulnerable to damage. I think it's 2 allies. It'll change throughout balance, but she can cast that. She makes them invulnerable for a few seconds. She can also get Lux's laser from set 6. And so she'll just shoot out a laser towards the furthest enemy. She can also summon Iron's Daisy, which was bugged for all PvE, but now it's fixed. She summons Daisy, and so Daisy is just a big golem, can function as a tank, and then can knock people up when she's ready to cast again. Very cool. And then her 4th thing she can get Janna's ultimate or Janna's ability from set 3, or maybe it was 3.5, whatever. Where she shoots out tornadoes and knocks up enemies that it hits, and then it gains attack speed for all of your allies that your tornadoes run into. Very weird and unique unit. If you guys want to play her as a carry, it's going to be something like this. Sojin plus AP scaling is going to be her best bet. But a lot of times you can just fit her into your comp as a utility style unit, because a lot of those abilities are, 3 out of 4 of those are utility abilities. So yeah, but she would best scale with flat AP and Sojin if you want to itemize her. All right, now we get on to the dragons, and we're almost at the end. Holy crap, hour-long video. Um, cool. I'm not gonna talk about too much about how the dragons function, but just as you know, each dragon has like a chosen style trait into them where they'll count as 3 towards that trait, but they cost 2 units for your board. So it's like really similar to Colossus, but way better. Okay, Deja is a backline DPS. It is AP Deja. So what are some items you want to build on Deja? Not the items it suggests here. I would not build a Titan's Resolve onto our Deja, but you can build attack speed style items like Rageblade Shiv. He does deal magic damage. So this is fine to build Rageblade Shiv. That is perfectly fine. Because Deja does have high mana cost. Building something like Sojourn is good. Building something like flat AP, like, you know, you can build JGIE Hodge, or I mean JGIE Rageblade, JGIE Spear of Sojourn. You can build Deathcap, Deathcap JG. You can build Gunblade. You can build Archangels. It's just AP, guys. AP and attack speed, or AP and mana gen. So one of your best bets. Just pay attention to the meta and what you want to play. What items are going to be strong on the current patch, and that is, you'll play the strong AP items on Deja, or you play some attack speed items, you'll be good to go. But what Deja does is Deja throws out a big, it looks like an Ezreal ultimate from League. Shoots it out at the most enemies, it deals magic damage, and then after that, he shoots out like 3 orbs or something like that a few times, and then he just charges up to do it again. And that's what he does. He's just an AP carry, very fun to play. Deja's cool. All right, Idus. Idus is actually the first dragon I played. The very first game I played of this set, I played Idus. Idus is a Shimmer Scale, Guardian, and obviously a Dragon. Idus is a tank and a utility style unit. One of the tankiest units in the game. Very, very, very strong. So what Idus does is every time Idus casts, Idus gets this big damage resist shield, and then also gives all of the allies near Idus a small shield and attack speed. Gives them an attack speed buff. So Idus is going to be a standard tank. You just want to slap some tank items on Idus. Very, very strong. If you need a frontliner and you just get an Idus in your shop, it's going to be a god tank right there. And especially it's going to be very good if you have like frontline DPS style characters with Idus, because as I said, it will buff the allies around them. So yeah, Idus is pretty good. I like Idus. Idus is cool. All right, Shioyu, or Shioyu. I just say Shioyu because it's easier for me to say. Okay, anyway, so Shioyu is a Jade, Mystic, and a Dragon. Shioyu is a very cool unit, and I'll probably describe his ability incorrectly just because it has like 4 different parts. So I'm just going to tell you what it does. Best I can explain. What Shioyu does is whenever Shioyu is ready to cast his ability, he gains damage resistance that scales off of AP, and then he auto attacks. He beats up whoever he's fighting, and each attack does a different thing. One of them deals true damage, one of them knocks him up, one of them just deals bonus attack damage. It's very, very, very cool. So Shioyu is a tank and an attack damage carry. So you can build Shioyu like an AD carry. So it's like the Clapio of the set. So you can build like Titans, i.e. BT. That's actually a very good build. I've actually had so much success of just building tank items, and my Shioyu will still deal the most damage on my team sometimes. So just building flat tank items like standard Bramble, Declaw, Warmogs is also extremely good, but this build is very good if you want to build an AD Shioyu. Just keep out in the meta whether AD Shioyu is meta at the time, but probably my favorite dragon is Shioyu. I love playing him. All right, Siphon. Siphon is a Whisper, a Bruiser, and a Dragon. What Siphon does is Siphon charges at the furthest enemy within 2 hexes. So yeah, that's where he goes, or she goes. I assume, I don't know, whatever. That doesn't matter. It's a dragon. The dragon dashes towards and knocks up everyone in their path. And then bites the target, dealing some extra attack damage at the end. And I don't know if this is a bug, but it seems like an overtime Siphon just constantly dashes, but I don't know if that's a bug or if that's intended. I'd have to read their tooltip again. But anyways, it's an attack damage carry, and it's always paired with an Elise. You always end up playing Elise because it is Whisper composition. So you can get a cool dynamic of you have this attack damage carry with an Elise who is a AP carry. So yeah, just standard frontline attack damage carry stuff. So you can also play as a tank because it does have solid utility. It does have a knockup. So you can build standard tank items, of course, but a lot of times you just build 80 carry items like you can build like IE Hodge QSS. I've seen work out pretty well for people. Rageblade, Giant Slayer QSS, stuff like that. But yeah, But yeah, it can be a DPS or a tank. But I like to play Siphon as a DPS. Okay, Ao Shin. Ao Shin has really been the strongest damage dragon in the game for all of PBE, and will probably be a premier late game damage carry for the whole set. Is a Tempest and a Dragon. So Ao Shin, what he does is very similar to Kaisa, where he shoots out a bunch of stuff, and it kind of like disperse the damage to all the enemies. So the less enemies there are, the more damage he'll focus fire onto people. And what he does is when his ability's ready, he just shoots out a bunch of lightning balls everywhere, and it just kind of disperses. It's very similar to Kaisa, playing Kaisa in set 6. Anyways, he does a very high mana cost, so you want to build something like Mana Gen plus flat AP, and you're good to go. So Spear Sojin, Rabadons, JG's good to go. You can also build Archangels. You can also build attack speed on him, like Rage Blade. Instead of your Sojin, do like Rage Blade, Archangel, JG or something like that. You can build QSS, Sojin, Archangel. Usually you need your Ao Shin to cast twice. That's why I really like Archangel, because the second cast will be really fat. But typically, yeah, he needs to cast twice. You need a really, really, really big frontline on him. It's actually really simple to play, standard backline position, and you just need to make sure you can buy a lot of time. You either need a lot of frontline or need a lot of CC to make him work. All right, Aurelian Soul. He's a very cool unit. He's an astral dragon and evoker, very good if you're playing vertical astrals. And then also, you know, he's like the budget Ao Shin, but he has more utility. But he's like the budget Ao Shin a little bit. Like usually you prefer to play Ao Shin, but I could definitely see times when Aurelian Soul is going to be like way better to like just play naturally. But anyways, so what does Aurelian Soul do? Very, very unique unit. When he's ready to cast his ability, he throws out a black hole. He summons a black hole near the largest groups of enemies. And so he summons that black hole. It takes attack speed from the enemy whenever it pops, and it deals magic damage. Every time he casts that ability, it grows. It gets bigger. So once you get to the end of the fight, it can be like the whole size of the board. It's kind of crazy, but the damage doesn't increase. So items are going to be really good on him. Same as Ao Shin, guys. Sojin, Deathcap JG is fine. Healing is fine. Got a follow alert on there. But yeah, you guys see that. But yeah, I really like Archangels as him as well, because he needs a lot of time to get his damage off. So just standard AP items on him. Same idea as Ao Shin. You need to buy a lot of time, but even more so with Aurelian Soul, you need to buy a lot of time. So you need a big front line, or you need a lot of CC to buy time for him. All right, we are on to our final unit. And guys, if I miss a unit at the end of this, please let me know. I think I got all of them. Usually when I film these videos, I always miss one, but I think I got all of them this time. But let me know if I missed one. All right, Shyvana, it's a very cool unit. It's a dragon. It's the Ragewing dragon. It's a shapeshifter as well, which fits very naturally with Ragewing because, you know, Swain is a Ragewing. So, or Swain is a Ragewing and a shapeshifter. So it's pretty easy to get her traits in. She is very cool. So what Shyvana does is when Shyvana ults, she has very low mana cost. Whenever she ults, she flies up in the air for a second. It's very cool. You watch her like flying up. She de-aggroes, so nobody's targeting her anymore, but I think she can still get damaged by AoE abilities. And then after she flies for a little bit, she slams down on the biggest group of enemies. It's a huge AoE, and it knocks them up and CCs them for a second, right? And then she starts spitting fire out in front of her, dealing magic damage. It's doing percent magic damage, percent off of max health. So she's very good with tank items and very good with, you can build AP items on her. You can build like Spark, or you can build just standard tank items, are very strong as well. I usually like to play her with tank items and maybe like one AP item, or you can build tank with like a Gwynsu's or something like that with Titans. That can actually be pretty good because she does have a lot of flat, have pretty high flat damage numbers. And she does live a long time. So if you can stack that stuff on her, it can be pretty solid as well. But yeah, pretty simple to play, very fun to play. And that is it, guys. That is the last unit. I hope you guys learned a lot in this video. Man, I was not planning on this being this long. Usually they're like an hour long, but man, this was a long video. Was getting pretty hot in here as well. Anyways, I appreciate all of you guys, and I hope you guys learned a lot from this video. And if you do, then please let me know by liking the video or commenting below. You know, helps me out a lot on YouTube. If you guys want more of me, I stream at twitch.tv/TFT. I stream 4 to 5 days a week. I stream on the weekdays. I will be taking the first 2 weeks of the set off because I will be out of the country. So if you guys are new to my channel and you're new to follow me, I will be gone for 2 weeks, but I'll be back. It's just a vacation that's been planned years in advance. Can't move it, so that's when it'll be. And then also, if you guys want more of me, I also post pretty much every day on twitter.com/TrajanTFT. But anyways, that's it for the video. If you made it all the way here, I appreciate all of you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful night, wonderful morning, and wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. See ya. Bye.